Have you ever tried to teach another person how to play chess? Now, I recently tried to teach one of my kids, and I never made it past my introduction to the pawn. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because I'm telling you, the pawn is a fascinating chess piece. It inspired me, and I think it might just inspire you.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
When was the last time you tried to teach another person how to play chess? It's no easy task. Recently, one of my kids expressed interest, so I decided to have a go at it. Clearly, I was feeling ambitious. I began my lesson with what I felt was the easiest piece on the board, the pawn. For those who don't play chess, a pawn is a chess piece that represents the smallest size and value. A pawn can only move one square forward, or two on the first move, or one square diagonally forward when capturing an opponent's piece. They are pretty expendable, and as such, each player begins with 8 pawns. I think the poor pawn has a bit of an image problem, though. The pawn is perceived as a very weak piece on the board, and the word pawn is a fairly unflattering label to attach to another person. Webster's dictionary defines the word pawn as a person used by others for their own purposes. Ouch. The Urban Dictionary takes an even tougher stance on the poor pawn. It has 2 definitions. 1, someone who is used or manipulated to further another person's purposes. Or 2, a person who is a fool. Clearly, no one in his or her right mind would ever want to be called a pawn. Or would they? There's more to the pawn that meets the eye. And as I began to wrap up my explanation of this apparently unfortunate piece, I was reminded of one last, rather obscure quality of the pawn. The pawn is the only piece on the board that has the ability to do more, much more. The rules state that if a pawn can make it to the other side of a board without being captured, it promotes. And this means that the owner of the pawn can replace it with any other piece desired other than a king. As the queen is the most powerful and versatile piece on the board, that's usually the piece selected most often. So let's review. The pawn is the chess piece that is known as the weakest on the chessboard. It poses the least threat, and it's so undervalued that it's actually a personal insult if connected to an actual human being. This same piece also has the ability to become the most powerful piece on the board. And what do you think of the pawn now? Personally, I think the pawn makes the perfect underdog. We can learn a lesson or two from this pawn. In order for it to become more powerful, 2 things need to occur. 1, skill. Maneuvering a pawn completely across the chessboard, one space at a time, vulnerable from all positions, and unable to move at all if a piece gets in front of it, takes a lot of talent. But like most things in life, it takes a lot of hard work to become great at the game of chess. And 2, luck. All the skill in the world still won't ensure the pawn's success. There's always an element of luck involved. But as Thomas Jefferson famously said, I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. Aren't those a couple of tactics that would affect your personal success as well? With hard work that transfers to actual skill and a little bit of luck, that underestimated underdog pawn can be transported from being the weakest piece on the board to the strongest piece on the board. The next time you feel undervalued, let the pawn inspire you to work hard. Take control of your own luck. Show others you have the ability to accomplish great things.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.